Democratic State Senator Mallory McMorrow of Michigan. A speech she gave a few months ago, you remember, where she pushed back against her opponent, essentially calling her a pedophile, went viral. Senator, it's good to have you with us this morning. There is so much what Anand is talking about is reflected in your state. It's sort of a laboratory for all of these questions. There were people in Michigan working very hard to overturn the results of the 2020 election. You now have close races for the governor, the attorney general. What are you seeing in your state, and what do you make of the case Anand is making for stronger communication about the Democratic message?
Willie, I think you're right. And my hope is that Michigan and the women leading Michigan become a model that the rest of the country can follow, because I can't tell you how disgusting it was the day that OPEC cut oil production and we started to see gas prices go up. I watched the Michigan Senate GOP social media accounts basically salivating and suddenly went into high gear to talk about how thrilled they were. Effectively, the gas prices were going up because finally they could blame it on the Democrats. And we have been out there. I know Attorney General Dana Nessel is coming up. She probably does more events across the state than any other elected official I've ever seen, talking to people where they are, getting that message out, talking about the fact that we are protecting people's rights. We are fighting for abortion access. Governor Whitmer proposed a direct cash relief for those most impacted by inflation, and the Republicans in our legislature rejected it.
So, Mallory, do you think, to Anand's point, that there is a place in the Democratic message to push back against the lies and the disinformation that's out there? I worry about the message being too convoluted, but also I worry about not pushing back against lies.
We absolutely have to push back against lies, because the fact of the matter is they are lying to you, no matter who they are. The Republican plan is to continue to provide tax cuts for the wealthiest individuals, to cut Medicare, to cut Social Security, to make it significantly harder for the very people who are most impacted right now. And we're watching them trying to divide us every single day. So we have to hit back against the lies, but we also have to make the connection. So when they're out there talking about sexualizing children or pedophilia in schools, all of these things that are just horrific QAnon-based conspiracy theories that are out in the open right now, make the connection that they aren't actually putting up any plans to help fight inflation. They aren't actually putting up any plans to bring your healthcare costs down or make your life better. They are just blaming somebody you may have never met before to make you believe that all of your problems are somebody else's fault.
Mallory, you walked this walk. I mean, you gave that speech. You pushed back. And so what has been your experience following that? Your experience with voters, with Michiganders? How have they reacted to the way you pushed back?
I have been all over the state helping our state Senate candidates in every corner of Michigan. We have an opportunity to flip the legislature from Republican to Democratic control for the first time in almost 40 years. And overwhelmingly, what we're hearing on the doors with voters is voters are tired. They are tired of how horrible this rhetoric is, how vitriolic it is, how hateful it is in dividing us. And more than anything else, yes, there's economic stress. Yes, there's stress about abortion. Of course, there is stress about the election. But more than anything else, Michiganders are like, I want this to end. We got to get back to normal. And that's the case that we Democrats are making, is this election is how we take our state back and how we take our country back.
All right, Anand, so just final thoughts here on this conversation moving forward. Are Democrats nailing it in terms of addressing the issues versus what people are really feeling? Because there's so many wins. There's so many bragging points. And Joe Biden made them very clear in his speech in Syracuse yesterday. He came out swinging against Republicans, calling them out by name, asking what their plans are, bragging about prescription drug crisis, bragging about the Inflation Reduction Act and pointing out what it will be able to do, talking about the CHIPS Act. I mean, this has been, like it or not, a successful presidency in terms of him accomplishing his goals. But then you've got the people who are feeling something different, and a lot of it has to do with inflation.
That's right. And so I would say, in closing this out, I would give them 3 mantras for this home stretch in the next many days, and all of them drawn from these organizers that I have been writing about in The Persuaders. Number 1, meet people where they are, which is your point about prices, right? I see every day on TV still people on the left coming on and saying, you say you're worried about gas prices, voters, but democracy is more important. There is no gas if there's no democracy. We got to stop doing this. Meet people where they are. Validate what they care about. It doesn't matter if they care about gas prices more than democracy. Don't insult them. Explain to them that democracy is choosing leaders, empowering you to choose leaders who will fight for the gas prices you want and the insulin you want and all the other things you want in your life. Second, it's important to paint the beautiful tomorrow. It's not just enough to minimize harms. Voters are not excited to just minimize harms. What do we get if we go with you? And we have really had a lack of vivid, beautiful storytelling of the kind that, Meacham talks about in great speeches in American history. And finally, tell the better story about America, right? The right should not own. People who are trying to, cosplay like a civil war in their backyard do not own the story of America, right? There is a phenomenal story to tell about an imperfect country founded in beautiful ideals that is trying to get better, just like people get better, that is trying to build a country made of the world, a country with opportunity for everyone, no exceptions. And it is getting closer. It has gotten closer through the labors of millions of people, the fights fought by millions of people. It has gotten closer than ever to realizing what it said it would be at the founding. And right now, at that 11 o'clock hour for that dream, a small-hearted faction wants to stop our progress because they don't want to share this country, and they would rather break it than share it. And we have to tell the story that is a more compelling story of America. I think we have to reclaim patriotism and the flag. Senator McMorrow is a hero of mine. I want to send her a copy of The Persuaders. She did this so incredibly well. And we have to remind people that our vision of America is more compelling. It is more true to what the founders intended, even if they weren't brave enough to implement it at the time, and summon people to something that is not just more righteous, but more exuberant, more fun, and frankly better for their bottom line than the dastardly vision, the narrow vision, the hateful vision, the lying vision the other side is offering.
All right, the new book is entitled The Persuaders, at the front lines of the fight for hearts, minds, and democracy. Anand Giridharadas, thank you very much. We appreciate it. And Michigan State Senator Mallory McMorrow, it's always great to have you on. Thank you as well. Willie?